Yet again, the games industry is mad about an indie game and its success. This time, it's Silksong that is under fire. When Team Cherry finally released Silksong, fans around the world rejoiced, but not everyone was happy. Behind the scenes, the games industry wasn't clapping, it was fuming. But why? Because 3 indie devs in Australia just embarrassed an entire industry built on bloated budgets, marketing cycles, and overpriced launches. Hello everyone, so here's the situation. Hollow Knight Silksong finally dropped, and it's been a massive hit. The players are over the moon, they'd waited years, they supported Team Cherry's silence, and when the game landed, it delivered. But while players were celebrating, the industry side of gaming was grumbling. Other companies, publishers, even some in the press, they weren't thrilled. Not because the game was bad, but because its release model, pricing, and reception highlighted just how broken the AAA machine really is. First off, let's talk about the release. The industry thrives on hype cycles, pre-order bonuses, early access tiers, cinematic trailers years in advance. They want players in a loop of spending money long before the game is in your hands. Team Cherry? Nope. They went radio silent for years, and then boom, Silksong was here through a clip during a Nintendo Direct, no less. No bloated marketing cycle, no massive PR budget, just a release. And it worked. The fans showed up anyways. This sent the Silksong community into a frenzy. It even crashed Steam on release because so many players were trying to access it. But about the price, imagine being a AAA publisher charging $70 for a sequel that's half-baked at launch, stuffed with microtransactions, and patched for months. Then Silksong arrives, polished, beautiful, deep, and priced far below the industry standard at just $20. Suddenly, all those arguments about why games have to cost $70 collapse. In today's market, that's unheard of. Major publishers have spent years conditioning players to believe $70 is the new standard. So when Silksong landed for less than a third of that cost, it wasn't just generous, it was disruptive. It even put into sharp relief just how inflated pricing has become in the AAA space. Of course, the industry hates this. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's not that they care about Team Cherry, they care that Team Cherry just made them look greedy. Team Cherry could have easily charged $40 or $50, fans would have still paid, but instead, they kept it at a price point that felt fair, attainable, and welcoming. Why? Because their philosophy has always been rooted in respecting players, not exploiting them. Remember, the original Hollow Knight was also priced at just $15, no DLC paywalls, no predatory monetization, and when they expanded the game, they released free content updates, the Grim Troop, Hidden Dreams, Godmaster, all at no extra charge. Silksong's $20 price point is a continuation of that same ethos. It's Team Cherry saying, we wouldn't be here without our fans, so we're not going to bleed them dry. From the perspective of big publishers, Silksong's pricing is dangerous. It resets player expectations. Suddenly when players compare a $20 indie masterpiece to a $70 AAA launched riddled with bugs, it raises uncomfortable questions. It undermines the games are too expensive to make narrative. If 3 devs in Australia can build a polished, content-rich game at a fraction of the cost, why are players paying $70 for unfinished blockbusters? We saw the same argument pop up with Expedition 33 when their game released for $50, along with having a sale for the first week. A game released with a core of a team of 33 people shook the gaming industry and redefined a gaming genre. With Silksong, it proves loyalty is worth more than marketing. Team Cherry didn't need deluxe editions, pre-order bundles, or early access cash grabs. They just needed trust, and that trust turned into sales. Let's talk about the crazy feats that Silksong has achieved. I mean, within the first hour, Silksong succeeded its predecessor. Hollow Knight had an all-time player peak count of 72,000 players, which was actually right before the release of Silksong. Within an hour, the most anticipated game of the year, and several years at that, jumped above 100,000 players. Within 5 hours, this game reached a peak of just above 530,000. That is an incredible feat for an indie studio, let alone an indie sequel. It is rare for an indie game to jump so high on the all-time peak ladder, and the last time I looked, it was at 18th place. That's fucking high. What really shocked me with all this is that it's not just the AAA industry that's mad at Silksong. There's even some friendly fire from some indie devs, like seriously, why can't we appreciate that a fellow indie company is competing with the big dogs? Do you hear yourselves? They don't owe you an ounce of anything. Their respect is with their fans, the ones who held out, supported their time and efforts for a game they put their hearts into. Silksong wasn't supposed to be a standalone title. When Hollow Knight exploded in 2017, yeah, I said that right, Team Cherry originally promised backers a Hornet DLC expansion, but as they begun building it, the scope ballooned. Hornet's faster movement, her unique mechanics, and her story simply didn't fit neatly into the framework of the base game. So in 2019, they made the decision. Team Cherry didn't want just a DLC anymore, they wanted a full sequel. Their decision effectively reset the clock. They weren't just making new levels, they were building an entire new game engine, world, and narrative around Hornet. Over the years, Silksong grew into something far larger than Team Cherry anticipated. New biomes, a massive roster of bosses, new systems, and expanded lore made of the game more than just Hollow Knight 2. In interviews with small community updates, the devs have admitted that their ambition kept expanding. Every time they hit a milestone, they saw new opportunities to push the design further. That's a luxury big studios rarely allow themselves anymore. Publishers usually force a ship date, but Team Cherry's independence let them keep refining until they were satisfied. Besides the games industry, the press was also unhappy. And why was that? Let's be blunt about it. The press was pissed because they didn't get their usual privilege. No early review copies, no weeks of exclusive hands-on coverage, no chance to set the narrative before players touch the game. In the AAA world, that's how it works. Publishers wine and dine media outlets, flood them with access, and then let the press spoon-feed hype to the public. It's not about honesty, it's about control. Team Cherry said, nah, we'll pass. And suddenly journalists weren't gatekeepers anymore. They were just players like everyone else. For once, they weren't the center of attention. Fans of the game carried all the hype, so of course they framed it as bad communication or unprofessional. What they really meant was, we didn't get our slice. At the end of the day, the flaming from the games industry isn't about hating Team Cherry, it's about the fear that players will look at Silksong and realize we don't need to accept overpriced, rushed, exploitative releases anymore. Fans celebrated Silksong because it reminded them what gaming can be. The industry, though, they saw a mirror held up to their worst practices. And that's the real story of Silksong, not just the game we waited for, but the game that exposed just how fragile the industry's excuses really are. They labeled Baldur's Gate 3 an anomaly, saying that players shouldn't expect this kind of game. Baldur's Gate 3 was released too good. This wouldn't happen on a normal basis. Then they eat their words with games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Expedition 33, and now Silksong. If this type of quality and expectation is such an anomaly, why is it happening more frequently? Why are half of the Game of Year contenders going to be the games released by smaller studios? Consumers are becoming more aware of this and have shifted their gaze towards indie studios that are releasing passionate works of art, unlike the soulless slops being released by these giant corporate machines. It's been the year of the indie studios, and I couldn't be happier to see such a trend. At the end of the day, we all just want to enjoy games that we can have fun in. Now is the time for me to say this, but I haven't played Hollow Knight yet. I grabbed it recently during the Steam Summer Sale, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But I figured Silksong's achievements needed to be expressed. Hate me all you want. I'll play it. Don't worry, I want to. I'm currently trying to 100% Expedition 33. Once I finish that, we're going to give Hollow Knight a try. I'll be streaming myself playing that for the first time and finishing up E33, so if you would like to keep up with my playthrough and asking things gaming related, leave a like and subscribe. If you played Silksong, let me know how it's been going for you, or you can throw shade at the lack of Hollow Knight in my life, or literally anything. But with that, guys, I hope you have a lovely day. Peace.